We're up at the Needles, and this is South Dakota in actually Custer State Park, near Black Hills State Park, and the view is so incredible with these needle-like structures in the rock, and this goes on for several miles. And what's really interesting here, geologically, we kind of got out up at the top of this mountain, started noticing these streams in the rock. And as Paul Serino, my rockhound friend, taught me to look for where the grain size of the crystals gets bigger and bigger, and in the surrounding rock, it's just a couple of millimeters. But out here, it widens out to several feet, and we're seeing this beautiful rose quartz. So absolutely incredible to witness and see the power, the energy, and the love coming from these rocks right here on top of this mountain pass. And let's join now for some meditation and leverage the energy of this place, the rocks and minerals here. So you can close your eyes. We'll chant them together. Om. 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 I'm calling upon the spirits of the land, the spirits of these mountains, all the Native Americans that were here, and this is very near the site of Custer's last stand. So a lot of conflicts between the U.S. Army and the natives here. But it's an incredibly sacred land, and I'm calling upon all the the warriors, their spirits, and the elders to join us in this healing. I want to thank you for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. It's really an incredible place. The geology and the rocks themselves are truly incredible here. You can look again at that rose quartz. That's just part of the mountain where we are. Yeah. So how I was taught in the White Mountains of New Hampshire by Alan Plant, a geologist, as well as Paul Serino, is to pay really close attention to the rocks as walking around. And you see, these rocks, the grains are really small, just a couple of millimeters, but then it's starting to open up into these larger, kind of larger crystal sizes. And here it's just feldspar, so it's not that exciting, but that opening, that enlargement of the crystal, we may find something interesting. And then, why it's called rockhounding, and we have our hound. We have our hound over here to help us do some hounding. Is then, you do walk around and you follow, you see, okay, now it's becoming like a little bit of a stream. It's continuing. You really have to start looking at these rocks. So here we have a pattern. The crystals are starting to get, larger. We're up to a couple inches in size. And then as, we follow these rocks down the trail, then we start finding some little black tourmaline crystals in here, starting finding some mica in there. It's like, things are starting to open up a bit in the rock. So, you keep going, keep looking, you keep hounding, and then lo and behold, getting spectacularly lucky here, at the top of this mountain pass, lo and behold, we wind up getting really bigger grain sizes. And now, we moved from millimeters, to inches, and now to feet. And we have rose quartz here, and just getting feet of that. And the crystal vein has opened up in a really interesting way. So we're getting that rose quartz, some, yellow quartz, potentially a citrine type color, but it is in the quartz family still. We're getting that more purple, sort of more toward an amethyst, toward a smoky quartz, all here in these rocks. And as we keep going, we just notice that this is a really large vein spanning perhaps 10 feet across these beautiful colored rose quartz, and even getting that nice real rose quartz color there, and all the variations of color in between. And as we continued walking down this pass, the vein of the crystals continued as we went down. So really, really neat find. And these mountains, they definitely hold a lot, of this igneous type of rock, but it's really interspersed with these crystals that have come in a very nice way. I really feel at home in this valley. There's just a nice sense of tranquility, gentle valley, a pass, and with all these high rocks, and just somewhere you could comfortably tent down and stay, even if at this elevation, and the longer slide down just beyond the. We're just gonna continue walking down a little bit here. It's a perfect day. It was a bit hot, but it's gotten to just the right temperature as we have gone on over here toward the close of the day. It's around 5 p.m. And we're just super captivated by what they call the needles, which are these needle-like tall rock projections that are coming out of the hills here and just going straight up like needles. That's how they got their name. The views just don't seem to end. Every turn around the road was really prettier than the next. It was actually hard to decide where to stop the car and start exploring because everything was just so nice. Loop around again over here. Yeah, just some really gentle paths in a very steep area that might otherwise be hard to get through, but people have figured out how to walk through and really make it nice and doable. Come on, Shiloh. Let's find what we need to find over here. Just keep sniffing. And we're starting to hear some really strange noises, kind of like an old door creaking open. So there it was, kind of in the distance. Don't know if you could hear it. And if you take a look on that rock, it almost looks like what looks to be a gargoyle with, a head, wings. You can see a beard, a crown, some, interesting eyes over there. and just all in the midst of this really big rock over there. As we continue to walk through, it's amazing how how close we can get to these needles. Really just come right up to them. Let's see how far our path will permit us to go over here. And we've come to a stand of birch between these needles, which is super interesting, right in a pine forest, kind of out of nowhere, to have white birch trees here. So to me, that definitely signifies a change as we've moved into this space here. So for an unmarked trail, certainly more than I would have expected to see, and really just the hunch to pull over at that pull off. And it does look like we may be coming to a nice place in the rock where people might have taken shelter, kind of a natural sheltering place in these rocks here. And it looks like, as we begin to go around and look inside the needle, someone has put 3 rocks here, perhaps to mark this, maybe create a boundary. There's some, birch bark there from the trees. If you wanted to start a fire, that would really be perfect to light up. And it does look like, if we were to go through, that there is further space in this rock, and indeed there is. Wow. And it looks like there would be enough space to even sleep in here. See a little bit of water coming down, and it looks like if we go further, there may be more to see. So, okay. So I am curious to see what I can see, and if this continues back, how far it continues back. The air has gotten a little bit cooler as we've gone. I do see what looks to be a bone here as well, from quite a large animal from some time ago. And I'm going to sit here and meditate for a little bit, because I'm really feeling the stillness inside this rock crevice. And if you want to join along, we can meditate for a little bit here inside this natural cave in the needle. Om. 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 Close your eyes and let the stillness and the peace of this really interesting cave enter you and fill you. It's coming into my chest space now. And it is clearing the air, clearing the brainwaves and all the fog with that peace and tranquility. Wow. So this is a very differentiated energy. Very peaceful, very still energy that we are feeling now. Yeah, this is a really good place for meditation. certainly adding a lot to the meditation to be here. Try to tap into that calmness, that stillness that is coming from the cave, the rocks, and the spirits that embody this earth here. letting that stillness further in through the headspace, chilling things down. And I'm certainly curious what people are feeling at this point, because I'm feeling a whole lot going on, and it's quite unusual or different. Feeling real calmness coming in through the headspace. And do try to tune into that energy coming through. You can slowly begin to come out. This was a very special meditation. I do wish it could be longer, but definitely these rocks are generating a very powerful vibration, and it's something that's been very nice to tune into, and I hope you guys got to enjoy. And I'm just going to step out of the space again so you can see where we were, and just the really interesting space, in this needle area, in these mountains, and in this natural cave that's formed in the rock here. And we're seeing an artifact here. It looks like a bit of porcelain, but it looks very, very old. Some perhaps from old miners that were out here back in the day. Seeing some other artifacts here from times gone by. Metal drum. And let's see what this might be. Interesting. Strip, some barbed wire. Maybe some clues to what that noise might have been, that metal hinge noise may have been. As we're coming back out, we're noticing that evening light hit in a different way. So we're coming out now in what looked like just another turn off on the highway. It proved to be a very interesting spot filled with crystals, caves, really so much to see around here. And I'm so glad we took the time to have a little look around. Thanks for joining.